Good morning. Could you please state your name for the record and spell both your first and last name?
Michael Boldt, Michaelboldt.
Mr. Boldt, did you know a person people by the name of Bart and Krista Halderson?
Yes, I did.
How did you know them?
Bart was a lifelong friend of mine. Grew up down the road, and I got to know Krista pretty much as soon as he met her.
Did you know their children?
Yes, I did.
In what capacity did you know Chandler and Mitchell?
I am actually godfather for both of them.
Did you have contact with them throughout the years?
Oh, yeah.
Haldersons?
Yeah, we would see usually holidays and for both of the boys' birthdays and around tax time because Bart did my taxes, so.
Okay. How did you come to learn that Bart and Krista were missing?
I got a text from my sister, and she said, "Have you been on Facebook this morning?" And I replied no, and immediately went to Facebook to where I see that she had shared the picture of Bart and Krista and that they were missing.
Okay. And when you learned that they were missing, did you start to learn details that they had taken alcohol or gone to a casino?
I did. I believe it was when Chandler had his interview with one of the local stations down here. I was online constantly, looking for something, and I saw what they had reported or what he had reported.
And you were good friends with Bart. Tell me about his drinking habits.
When I was with him, if we had a drink or two throughout the whole weekend, that would probably be it. Sometimes we would go the whole weekend without having a drink, and it was never in front of Mitchell or Chandler.
And I assume, obviously, Bart was your accountant.
Yes.
Tell me about his habits with money.
I don't like to call people tightwads, but I would say Bart was very tight with his money, and he actually introduced me to his investor and suggested that I get something set up for my son as far as a 529 was concerned, which I took his advice, and I know he put money away for the children, and we had conversations about it. And
did you ever know him to gamble?
no. I could have given Bart a $100 bill, and I think he would have gave it back and said, "No, we're not going." I don't ever think that he stepped foot in a casino as far as I'm aware.
At some point in your careers over your life, you worked in solar paneling. Is that fair?
That is correct, yes. I went to school, I believe, in 2011, 2012, and then I got a job shortly after that.
Did you ever have conversations with Chandler about solar paneling?
Yes, briefly. Bart and Krista and Chandler and I talked about it, and they had told me he was going to go to school for solar energy, and I borrowed him a tool that I had received when I went to school, and we discussed it briefly, and that was pretty much the extent of that.
Did Chandler ever work with you installing solar panels?
No, he did not.
No further questions.
Cross-examination?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. May this witness be excused and released.
You may, and if we could approach.
Thank you, sir. Have a good remainder of your day.
Good morning. Could you please state your name for the record and spell both your first and last names?
Yes, it's Sabrina Simms, Sabrina Sims.
How are you employed?
I am a detective with the Dane County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been employed in that capacity?
I've been a detective for 14 years.
And are you one of the 2 case detectives assigned to this case?
Yes, I am.
I just just want to talk to you very briefly about how you go about investigating a missing persons case. What are sort of just generally the steps that you go through as a detective?
Sure. So usually initially those are reported to deputies who we've already heard from. Based on the information they receive, we do follow-up interviews. Sometimes that leads us to
information to your investigation.
It's very important. The information we get early on leads us in certain directions sometimes, and other times it leads us in wrong directions. Usually in missing person cases, obviously, the first couple of days, the first hours that we find out information is very vital in where our investigation goes. Sometimes time is of the essence when we're locating people, children and adults alike.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to show you exhibits 40 through 43. Could you please identify Exhibit 40?
Exhibit 40 is a USB drive, which includes media interviews.
And who is giving said media interviews?
Chandler Halderson.
And did you collect these from the various news stations in the course of your investigation?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And exhibits 41 through 43, how would you describe those?
Exhibit 41 is a transcript of a media interview that Chandler Halderson did with Channel 3000. Exhibit 42 is a transcript of a media interview with NBC 15 conducted by Chandler Halderson. And 43 is a transcript of a media interview with WKOW and Chandler Halderson.
And what date were these interviews given?
July 8th, 2021.
Okay. At this time, I would move Exhibit 40 into evidence and would ask to publish.
Any objection to its receipt?
Can we approach for a bit, actually?
Sure.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this time, we'd request that you'd read the stipulation regarding the media interviews.
Very good. I shall. At certain times during trials, it may come to pass that the parties reach agreements about facts. And this is done for a host of reasons and is always appreciated because it means we don't have to introduce those facts through witnesses and testimony. In this instance, at this moment, the district attorney and the attorneys for Mr. Halderson have stipulated or agreed to the existence of certain facts, and you must accept these facts as conclusively proved. In this case, the district attorney and defendant's attorneys have stipulated to the following facts. The television news broadcasts presented as evidence in this case, including interviews from WISC TV Channel 3, WKOW Channel 27, and NBC Channel 15, are authentic recordings of the news broadcasts. The person identified as an off-camera speaker in these news broadcasts as Chandler Halderson is, in fact, the defendant Chandler Halderson. I also remind you, ladies and gentlemen, about the instruction that I gave yesterday before we first saw a recording. Recordings are proper evidence. These have been closed captioned for you, but again, the closed captioning is secondary. What you hear is the evidence, and I will remind you that if it appears anything has been redacted from these, those are redacted due to decisions made previously before trial. I'll also remind you that it is the statements that are heard on these videos from the defendant, and his identity has been stipulated as the speaker, that is the evidence that's being put forward to you here today.
First one we're going to play is Channel 3000.
Thanks for staying with us. Officials are still searching for this couple, Bart and Krista Halderson. Now, there are a lot of questions about the Dane County couple's disappearance that we are working to get some answers to, but tonight, police aren't saying much. And that led us to the couple's son, who says he's just as confused as investigators. Adam Duxter spoke with that man today. He's here now with what he learned. Adam?
Well, Eric, Chandler Halderson lives with his parents in the village of Windsor and says another unknown couple picked them up early Friday morning before he was awake. And tonight we're left to wonder what happened to Bart and Krista Halderson. Schuster says his usually quiet street is busier than ever since last night.
I pulled in, there was a couple of sheriffs out there. Then 2 hours later, there's 3-4 detectives there. And as we saw the detectives enter the house, that's where we knew there's something going on inside Bart's house.
Shortly after, the Dane County Sheriff's Office shared this photo of Bart and Krista Halderson. Police say the couple had planned to go to their cabin in Langlade County. Their son, Chandler, asked not to be shown on camera, but he told us he didn't see his parents leave and added they didn't drive themselves.
They were picked up by their friends, who I never got the name of, and I assumed it was someone I was aware of, the close neighbors of theirs up the street, or their best friends down on the east side. So that's what I assumed. I never really asked any further.
Chandler says he assumed his parents had turned off their phones to avoid roaming charges, and it wasn't until after the holiday weekend ended that he got nervous.
Because this weekend it was packed. I get that. Packed. Maybe the weather wasn't great for messaging.
Tonight, Dane County Sheriff's Office says there are too many unanswered questions to say anything, while Langlade County Sheriff's Office wouldn't confirm they're helping in a search. Police instead spending today interviewing neighbors, like Brett Schuster himself.
Just shocked. I mean, it's odd, though. Everything that seems, it's odd and shocking that, you never expect or anticipate seeing something that, especially that close to your house. I hope everything works out and it's just a misunderstanding with communication and comes pulling in the driveway any minute.
And Chandler Halderson says for his parents to leave, even with another person, does happen from time to time. But he tells me another family member went to that cabin to check out cell service and was able to get through.
Well, hopefully we'll get some answers soon. Adam Duxter reporting. Adam, thank you.
The second video of Exhibit 40 is NBC 15.
The search continues for this couple, Krista and Bart Halderson. They live near DeForest. They were reported missing yesterday. NBC 15's Elise Ramos joins us live from the Dane County Sheriff's Office Northeast Precinct. Elise, you spoke with their son and people in the Haldersons' neighborhood.
Yeah, John, the Halderson's son says that he helped his parents pack up the night before their trip to their cabin in Langlade County. He hasn't seen them since.
I was told they'd be home Monday or Tuesday, and Tuesday afternoon I got a little worried.
Chandler Halderson says his parents, Krista and Bart, were getting picked up by friends that Friday. They were planning to be at the cabin over the 4th of July weekend.
Apparently they did make it. I got a text on Sunday.
Halderson says after that text, he began getting worried when his calls to his mom went directly to voicemail.
That's when I got worried and I went to make a report.
Halderson says his aunt went to the cabin on Tuesday, but did not find anyone there.
Shocked. It's odd. The whole thing is just odd.
Brett Schuster lives next door to the Haldersons.
This is typically a quiet neighborhood. You usually never see anything like this or anticipate or expect to hear something like this.
One of Halderson's biggest concerns, who his parents were with when they left.
They went with their friends, but I didn't ask who their friends were, so I'm still not really sure.
While law enforcement searches for answers, the community is hoping for the Haldersons' safe return.
I hope everything works out and this, lost communication, they're up north and they pull in any minute. So thoughts and prayers to them and hope everything's fine.
I called the Langlade County Sheriff's Office today for information, and they told me that the Dane County Sheriff's Office is leading this investigation. I'm waiting to hear back from Dane County on whether or not deputies did a welfare check at that cabin in Langlade County. In DeForest, Elise Ramos, NBC 15 News.
And finally, a clip from WKOW.
Authorities are still searching for a Windsor couple who have not been seen in days. 50-year-old Bart Halderson and his wife, 53-year-old Krista, were supposed to travel north last week and return home on Tuesday.
But their son tells Tony Galley his parents' whereabouts are unknown.
Bart and Krista Halderson of Windsor had plans for the 4th.
Their plans were going up with their friends and do some minor repairs on our cabin.
That cabin is some 3 hours away from Windsor on a lake in a small community in Langlade County.
Did you literally see them pulling out of the driveway heading out?
No.
Their son, Chandler Halderson, who asked to be off camera, says whoever his parents were traveling with from this neighborhood were to do the driving. He says he received a text from his mother.
She got back to me on Sunday, said they made it safely.
That's the last he's heard from his parents. Neighbor Brett Schuster's reaction to the Haldersons' disappearance.
Wow. You know, my wife is pretty shook up too. I mean, they're a very nice couple, very nice family.
Detectives now go door to door here, while sheriff's personnel here in Dane County are checking for any and all information. The missing couple's son says law enforcement in Langlade County has checked on the family's cabin there, and he says that visit only adds to the mystery.
The sheriff said it looked like there wasn't anyone home.
Family and friends hope the Haldersons' unexpected extended time away is just that, and not a sign they're in trouble. In Windsor, Tony Galley, 27 News.
No further questions at this time.
Any cross-examination?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Detective, you can return back to the table.